Hey there, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. Sorry we had a few technical difficulties as we were trying to get the Be Live program working on Facebook so that Stephanie and I could do a direct live in the group. But this will have to suffice for now. So I'm hoping a few more of you will be able to log on and join us. Otherwise, we will post this discussion in Facebook afterwards. But I just want to thank Stephanie for kind of prompting me to have a discussion about what the heck is going on in the world right now. And, Stephanie is an 11. I've gotten a growth number 11, as you likely know. And everybody's feeling this crazy vibration on the planet right now. So how do we best manage that? So we're just having a very casual conversation. Honestly, not a whole lot planned today. It's just kind of what happens. And we were hoping a few more people might be able to join us last minute. But that's okay either way. Steph, what's your thoughts? What's going on?
Well, I mean, I've got a couple of things that kind of came through a few minutes before we jumped on here that I feel are really important things that we need to talk about with this. But yeah, this whole I feel like everything that's going on with the coronavirus, it's kind of all hit us in different ways.
Yeah.
And I know that where I'm feeling about it in the US versus where you're feeling it in Canada, I'm talking to people in Australia and where they're feeling it. I have family in Europe and how they're feeling it. So I'm aware of all of the feelings that are going on. And like I said, it's happening in waves. This last weekend, though, I think you and me and Ann have been talking quite a bit over the last week or so. And we were both feeling it this weekend, this really great feeling of coming together and unity. And then, for me at least, yesterday, I felt a huge surge of fear. Whereas I was able to kind of stay expanded and feel really still within myself with all of it. Yesterday, the thoughts came in, the fears came in, and I could feel it in my body. Today, it's a little bit better. And so I think something to talk about today is that wave of feelings that we're all feeling.
It's very true. And I think it's worthy of noting too. I mean, obviously the 11s are they're a very, sensitive group. And so they respond to their senses differently than a lot of other people do, right? So that means that sound, for example, might be something that is really more sensitive to the 11. It could be images, it could be just listening to the news. It could be their actual sensitivity to the vibration. I know everybody's feeling the planet is going like this. It's being shaken up, right? And we're all feeling it. It's like we're inside of a snow globe and we're all bouncing around inside of there. And it affects everybody differently. And I was telling somebody the other day about walking towards the superstore, for example, and in the parking lot, leaving my car, walking towards.
Now we're talking about this, yeah.
Mecca, and the announcement coming over broadcasting over the parking lot. I felt like I was in a war zone. It's the kind of thing you see in Nazi Germany, years ago, that you don't expect it here. So it's causing all of us to react. To me, that caused me to get anxious. I wasn't anxious before that. That caused me to be anxious. So it's worthy to note that everybody is going to feel this a little differently, aren't they?
Oh yeah, and 11s are very sensitive. I mean, we could just be walking in the grocery store and feeling people's energy. And I've done a lot of work on myself so I can have that energetic boundary to not be taking in people's energy. But I know a lot of new 11s or 11s that haven't done that yet. They may be feeling very overwhelmed by the bombardment of, and you could just be on your phone and getting notifications just because you checked it out one time. Now you've got something on your phone that's telling you every time that there's a story about the coronavirus, you're getting those notifications instantly on your phone. And sometimes the titles of these articles are meant to get your attention, but they're also bringing some anxiety. And I don't think it's just 11s. 11s are going to be really strong with this. I'm not a 7 life path. You are, so you might feel it differently. I imagine everybody's feeling it. There's some people that I've talked to that have been incredibly rational about it. And you can just kind of feel they're all kind of going, okay, I get it. So everybody's adjusted a little bit and they're starting to feel it a bit more as it starts to coming into your back door. You go to the grocery store, you see empty shelves.
Yeah.
I was there at 9:00 at night one day and I just felt eerily quiet.
Yeah.
And, and I was at the store yesterday And I could feel people panicking because the normal things are gone, but now the things that their backup ideas are gone, and stores, groceries have not come in. And so you start thinking, oh, well, is there not going to be something? So your brain, I think today is a good time to talk about some of the stuff that's going on in our minds and how to get out of our minds and into our bodies about it.
So maybe one of the things that we can do to help ourselves would be to shift the focus away from what we don't have and show some gratitude for what it is we do have.
I think that's a really good thing to keep some perspective there.
Yeah.
But I also feel like it's really important to ground into our bodies a bit more.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I can definitely help people if we want to do that, kind of do that really quickly. If anybody, if you're interested in that, you want to do that a little bit?
Absolutely. Kathy, you up for that? Okay.
Okay. All right. So I want everybody just to take a few minutes, and we're just going to go ahead and close our eyes. And let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And then let it out. We're going to take another deep breath in, but this time I really want you to feel the air coming through your nose, down your windpipes into your lungs. Okay, so we're taking another deep breath. Feel it go into our lungs and we breathe out. We're going to take one more deep breath in. And then another breath out. Now, probably anybody who's sitting, and it was people who are watching this right now, whether you're watching the recording or here right now, I want you to put your feet on the ground, and I want you to wiggle your toes a little bit and just feel what it feels like to have your feet on the ground. Okay, I want you to feel what it feels like to have your butt on the seat. And if you have a back to your chair, I want you to lean back and just feel that on your back. Can you feel that? And when you're breathing in, can you actually feel yourself sitting on that seat, or do you feel like you're hovering just a little bit above it? Like you want to feel like you can feel it, then maybe you're kind of, detaching your mind a little bit. That's something to pay attention to. Okay, we really want to be able to feel our bodies in the seat. Okay, so take enough breaths that you need to get yourself to really feel that sensation. Because sometimes there's so much in our heads, not enough in our bodies, so we can't feel that. The next thing I want you to do, as you're feeling your body in the seat, I want you to feel your body on the earth. Can you feel the gravity of the earth? Can you feel yourself on this earth plane? And can you trust that this earth has got you? Can you feel that you're not going to tip over because gravity's got you? Can you feel that nature, the universe, earth has got you? Nothing's going on right now. Everything's safe. You are safe. In this moment, nothing's happening to you. You are okay. Yeah? Can you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Take another deep breath in. Let it out. And if any of you are feeling any kind of anxiety in your body right now, or any kind of sensation, I want you to tune into where it is feeling like in your body. So for me, I can feel it kind of in my spine, in between my shoulder blades. I can feel it in my lower back, on my tailbone. Feel into those sensations just for 2 seconds. I just want you to feel it. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. And any feelings of anxiety that you're feeling or fear right now, I want you to take a moment and just give it space. Sit and just feel it. Feel the anxiety, feel the fear, feel the uncertainty. And just breathe into it. We're going to take 3 breaths on this. Breathe in and feel it, and breathe out. Breathe in and feel it, and breathe out. One more time, breathe in and feel it. Move your body if it's moving, and breathe out. we're going to go back to feeling the feelings in our seat. And when you're ready, wiggle our toes and wiggle our fingers. Come back to the space and open your eyes. Now, how's everybody feeling? Thumbs up? Good? Better?
Excellent.
That's something to pay attention to, because our minds are going to mess with us during this time. And it's not just during this time, but a lot of times in our lives, our minds we're really going to go there.
Yeah.
We got to get into our bodies. And it's like the child that's scared, that says, Mom, I'm scared. Mom, I'm scared. What would you do to that child? You'd be like, shh, stop. Would you ignore them? Or would you be like, I know you're scared. I'm scared too. It's okay. We respond to it. We don't react to it. Does that make sense?
Well, it's our choice on how we respond, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to remember that there's power in choice, that, we get to choose how we respond to this. We can choose to be anxious, and that's okay. But we've got to say that I'm choosing to feel anxious right now, rather than saying that this situation is making me feel anxious, or this environment is making me anxious, or social media is making me anxious. None of that is making you anxious. You make yourself anxious. It's how you choose to respond to what you're seeing.
Well, let's go a little deeper. Let's go a little deeper and let's step back a little bit. It's important to feel the feelings first and acknowledge it. Let's not go into our mind going, oh, I'm choosing to do that. It's like, let's just feel it for a moment. Let's just acknowledge that we feel this way. And it's
there's nothing wrong with that feeling.
And respond to it, not react to it, because the reaction to it causes us to do things that are chaotic, like go and buy 10 pounds of, 10,000 things of toilet paper or whatever's going on. People are feeling fearful right now, and they're reacting to the feeling of this fear of the unknown, rather than responding to it and saying, okay, yeah, I get this. I don't know what's coming, and it scares the hell out of me. Let me acknowledge that first. And then you can go to, I choose how I'm going to respond to this. I'm going to choose to not react. I'm going to choose to respond. I've had to do that so many times I can't even tell you in the last week. I'm choosing not to go all out buying 10 pounds of food because I'm not seeing a lot. Then there came a point where I'd be like, okay, I can feel in my body that something's coming. Now I know, okay, let's go ahead and prepare just in case. But you can come to that place of rationale when you are coming from a place of calm and centeredness. You're not coming from a place of, I've got to hoard and grab everything because I need to do something to deal with these feelings. And you need to respond to the feelings first, feel them. Then you can choose to take good actions. Because right now what we're seeing is a lot of reaction. And it's okay. It's understandable. Many countries don't have very good leadership around this. Many countries are kind of behind on responding to this. I know the United States definitely is. And that has led to so much fear. But ultimately, we have control of how we react. We have a choice.
I'm sorry. I was just sort of thinking about all the, everything that you guys, the Americans, have to put up with on a daily basis is rather challenging right now.
It is.
Without naming any names or sources of anxiety, if there was ever a country that is feeling the stress right now, I'm sure it's the Americans.
It's the United States right now. I mean, I can't speak for every country. I cannot speak for every country, and I think everybody has got criticism, can have criticisms. I could just feel the overall waves every time our leadership makes some kind of comment. Right now in our country, we're told to stay 6 feet away. Yet our officials came onto the news yesterday and did a speech or conference, and they were right up against each other. So what we're feeling is contradictions of what's going on.
Saw that.
And so again, if you don't have proper leadership saying, we've got this, we can handle this, we're going to do this, this, and this, and then you can do this, this, and this. I mean, we were already told last week we're going to have checkouts. It's almost, we're in the middle of the week, we don't have checkouts. There's no answers. I live in a small town. There's no checkouts here. There's no testing. People are coming off planes and not getting tested. You're hearing this, you're seeing this, and you go, now what? And this is the point where I'm not being Pollyanna when I say this, but I do want us all to come from a place of empowerment, a place of choice. Because if things really get bad, the people reacting is going to be really bad, you know. But go ahead.
And I feel that, the last time we went through anything that was of any kind of magnitude, even close to this, was SARS. And
I heard somebody say that the other day.
yeah, and I don't remember a lot about SARS, but my best friend in Toronto is a nurse, and I know that she was going in, full white regalia every day to work, and it was one of the most stressful things I've ever seen anybody ever have to go through. I was so proud of her going through it, and so many others. But we didn't have the constant exposure to it. Like you only
I
were
don't
exposed to it.
remember anything about SARS. Honestly, I remember hearing about it, but I don't have any memory where I felt anything about it.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was bad. Not as bad as this, but it was bad. But the fact is, back then, I don't even know what year it was, but back then there was no social media. So the only way you were going to hear anything about it is if you actually purposely turned on your radio or you turned on your TV to actually watch a scheduled news broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're so wired to social media. We're all on Facebook. We're all, seeing YouTube. We're all seeing it, and it's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. You can't go out into the grocery store without, standing there and having somebody talking about it or whatever. So we are absolutely inundated. So you're absolutely right. We have to be a little bit more centered, be a little bit more grounded. Recognize that it's not all for one right now. And I think if anything that's really good that's coming from this is that we're starting to recognize that we have to be socially responsible, not for ourselves. This is a collective thing. This pandemic is, and it isn't just the United States or Canada. We're talking about the whole world is affected by this right now.
I did a post on that. The other day. About this, we're all in this together. I mean, that's my message in all of my work, is that we're all in this together. That's my message constantly. But I definitely okay, so here's where I'm going to talk about something personal to me. I'm going to get vulnerable with you guys real quick. I literally just got a text message from my father saying that my aunt and my uncle just tested positive for coronavirus. So okay, here we go.
Are they in Indiana?
No, they're in New York. So they're right in one of the other epicenters of it. So it's starting to spread to their area.
And it has now hit your time.
If I didn't do a centering, here is where my mind would come in. Here is where I would start spiraling. I mean, I had other news came in yesterday, and I was on the phone with Anne, and I had to get back to centering and going, okay, now it's going to get a little loud in here because the kids are coming home. But so just please excuse all the extra noise, guys. But again, this is where we take this knowledge and we respond to it. We don't react to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I am sorry for what you and your family are going through, but I sure am grateful for this synchronicity, this moment where we can see somebody like Stephanie who's making some different choices, and live as we're sitting here speaking to her, she's getting news that her family members have just tested positive for the coronavirus. So it's coming, guys. I mean, it is what it is. We have to remember that we get to respond to it the way we choose to respond to it, and how much you allow yourself to be exposed to all this social media is up to you. I think, Kathy, I'm going to unmute you for a second.
Kathy, thank you for your well wishes on that. I saw that message. Thank you. Or Karen, sorry, Karen. Thank you, Karen.
So, Kathy, did you not send out a message? Was it you that sent out a message the other day saying that you're just going offline, off social media? What are you doing here today? Busted. But no, I appreciate it. I thought, now, you know what? That would be a great thing to be able to do.
I chose to go off of social media because stress really depletes your immune system. And as a holistic nutritional consultant, I was feeling a lot of stress about a whole bunch of other things, not just this situation. And I am immune compromised. So I thought the best thing to do for myself and my family and everybody around me was good self-care. And I think that's an important message for everybody. It's the good self-care. Do what works, do what feels right for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I am here, not unlike you. I've chosen to be at a cabin on the water outside of Chester by myself for a week, and I am doing all the right nutritional things for myself. I am trying to meditate, do yoga, and in my day-to-day life, that's very difficult. So I had to have a good response and do the right things to keep myself healthy so that I can keep my family healthy, look after people. look after my community, all of those kind of things.
I'm so glad to hear that you are prioritizing time for yourself, because I think that's important. It's like Steph and I talked about doing this tomorrow, and she asked me if I could do it tomorrow. I said, no, I'm going to go see my horse tomorrow, and I'm going to ride tomorrow because it's outside and I don't have to be with people, and it's one thing I can do, and stay safe and sane.
It was really important for me to also respect the fact that she's
Yeah.
saying, no, I'm going to have tomorrow. I totally respect that. I mean, I respect that in general, period. But it's so important. The other thing I feel, not to cut anybody off here, for me, I'm choosing to stay on social media. And the reason I'm choosing to stay on social media is because I feel like I have something to say to help people.
Right.
I feel like if it's going to be receiving information that creates anxiety in you, then it's important to say, no, thank you. Self-care, I've got to take care of this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you feel compelled to put something out there in a positive way that's going to help people, then step up and stand in your leadership there. I know a lot of people are out there trying to help their community just stay calm during this time. Let's not put out more garbage, because there's a lot of that. Let's put out, I hate to use the term love and light, but let's put out something that's going to be productive to people. I think that's the most important thing. Can I add something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Children, let's really, really, really pay attention to how, this is one of the first things that came through my notes before I got started here. Let's really pay attention to what we're saying to children. Let's really pay attention to how we're saying it to children. Mm-hmm. Children will hear things, but they'll feel it more. So it doesn't matter what you're saying, it's what they're feeling, okay? Because I'm seeing children go to the store. I don't even take the children to the store. I don't want them to see it. Mm-hmm. Not from the fact that I'm trying to keep them sheltered, but from the fact is you don't know what they're picking up along their journey in life. Is this something that's going to impact them? Is this going to become a trauma that they have to unravel later in life? You don't know. But also, if the kids are seeing you freaking out or seeing other people freaking out in the store, that becomes their way, their default setting of how to handle trauma and how to handle stress and anxiety. We've got, as adults, we have a responsibility to how to teach children how to handle these things in a healthy way. And a lot of us adults are trying to figure out how to do it ourselves. Let's take it out of ourselves, take a step back and take a step out of our own egos and go, listen, we are also an example for the next generation. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know how much longer you've got, Steph. You may have to step off in a minute, but
I got till 1:45.
Okay, so I wanted everybody to recognize or know that Stephanie does clarity sessions. She's from voiceadream.com. So I just want to kind of put that little plug in there for you for a second, because Stephanie is very responsible for why I am where I am and has a lot to do. She's my life coach. She's the one that kind of keeps me on the straight and narrow when I kind of stray and get a little freaked out about things and whatnot. She's the voice of reason, but she can cut through your bullshit really quick. That's why I love her. But anyway, you got to check out voiceadream.com. The other thing I want to mention to the group, well, we've got 11s tuning in, and not just 11s, because I'm going to be posting this on YouTube as well.
Yeah, I think it needs to go everywhere.
Yeah, it is. It's going to go up to everywhere. But I also wanted to mention that, we are sort of reaching out. This was supposed to be broadcasted into the Master Number 11 group. They are a group that I'm kind of passionate about because they are, I don't want to say overly sensitive, but they are hypersensitive to a lot of things. That's why we're kind of catering to this. But this message that we're talking about here relates to everybody. And I wanted to draw attention to the fact that in my Master Number 11 group, that's www.masternumber, all written out, 11, the number.com. I'll post it up here later. In that group, Kathy Bulger over here to my left, she's a nutritional specialist. And I interviewed Kathy probably about 2 years ago now. And she did a really great video about how your adrenals are fatigued. Am I saying that right, Kathy?
Yeah.
How our adrenal glands get fatigued under stress.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's really important right now because you don't know that's happening. You can't really feel your adrenals. Right. So that's where self-care and doing what works for you, whatever that looks like, is really important. And on my Facebook page, I had put out a little bit of a advisory on things like as basic as it sounds, like, do the right things, eat your leafy greens, stay hydrated, sleep. Sleep is when your body detoxes. Right, exactly. I love it. All of those things, and there's adaptogenic herbs you can take as long as you're not on other medications and things that can help calm. Because in times like this, for lots of people who haven't practiced centering themselves and getting to a better place, it's a harder thing. It's a hard time to start doing that, and it's a hard thing to do to start with. So being able to order adaptogenic herbs, even to have them delivered online to help you out and support you, support your adrenals. But it should always be food first. It should always be self-care. It should always be like doing the meditation, the mindfulness, the centering that Stephanie did, which was great. And that's, I mean, as simple as feeling the seat underneath your bottom is huge, because who remembers to do that? Like, that's awesome. Well, that's so important. Like, that is self-care in its own, and all of those things help you alleviate the symptoms of adrenal fatigue, which can be debilitating. And you think at times like this is when we're going to see a whole lot of that happen to people, because they don't know how to do those self-care things. And it's not one thing that helps, it's all things that help.
Right. It's a lot of different cogs in the wheel.
Yes.
So that presentation that Kathy did with me a couple of years ago is in the masternumber11.com membership. But what I featured it this month. So when you guys, if you go to masternumber11.com, even if you're not a member, you can go into the videos and you get a sample of it and go right down to the bottom, and the whole presentation that Kathy did on adrenal fatigue is there. Now, I know that we were centering it around Master Number 11s, but I want you to know that this message that she delivered to us applies to everybody, okay? So if you want to learn a little bit more about that and how to connect with Kathy, check that out. I'll post the links here later as well. But it was a great contribution, and it still lives on in the membership. But I wanted you to know that it's featured for free this month, so you can go in and check it out.
Can I add something here?
Yeah.
I think for anybody who's watching this on YouTube and they're going, what the hell is a Master Number 11? What is this stuff here? Now it's going into the woo. I want you to take a step back. Master Number 11 is just a numerology term, and I want to say for light workers, or people who are out there being different in society. This is a good way to explain it, right? Well, not everybody's this.
Everybody has a life path number, and some life path numbers are just a little bit more sensitive than others. So when we refer to the Master Number 11, it's just simply somebody who has a higher vibration. But the information we're presenting today applies to everybody.
Everybody. I don't want you guys shutting down just because you're hearing this and going, oh, well, then now this doesn't apply. This is universal. We're talking about a specific modality here, which is what we're talking about, because we just happen to be in this group. But this information, I think, is just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're 11 life path. Doesn't matter if you're 3. Doesn't matter. We're all dealing with this together.
I want to ask anybody who's watching right now. You might recognize that Laura Warren, who's just an amazing person, an amazing soul. She's a real soul sister. She's been a huge contributor to my community, and Laura is very, very highly sensitive to what's going on right now, and she is crashing hard. Okay, so she needs as much love and light as you could possibly send to her. A lot of people know her, laurawarrenmedium.com, and she's just asking for a little bit of love and light sent her way, because this whole disturbance on the earth right now is really affecting her badly. So whatever you can send to her, I'd really appreciate it.
I was literally talking to her before we even got on this call. I was literally talking to her.
Perfect.
Can I also add that I'm going to add something else here? And I apologize. There's a lot of dinging going on. If you guys can hear that, that is literally my family texting back and forth. And there's no way for me to turn that off. So I apologize.
For those of you who are just tuning in, Stephanie just got word that 2 of her family members have been tested positive. So this is why you're getting this vibration all the time.
Yeah. So that's what you're hearing, that because I can't turn that off, but I'm just literally seeing it. And again, it's me focusing on what is my message. So earlier, Anne mentioned that my website, voiceofdream.com, that's my website. I have clarity sessions, but I want to talk about the fact that actually I'm a photographer and web designer, okay? And I do have clarity sessions to help people get through this, because it doesn't matter what work I'm doing. In all of it, it's the fact that I want people to be as authentic and true to who they really are in this life. And I happen to use photography, or if you're doing a business, a web design to help you bring your authentic work out. I have a ton of blog posts to help people kind of navigate this thing called life and this journey that we're all on. But my point of bringing that up right now is during crisis, during adversity, that is when our true selves come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our true character comes out. Here is an opportunity to be more of yourself, right? Because we all kind of be a version of ourselves in our day-to-day life. Here's how you have an opportunity to be more true to you.
Mm-hmm.
So are you a person who is really caring? And maybe before you would hide that, you know what I mean? You would care about the bird on the street or the person next to you and your neighbor, but you may have gotten negative feedback for doing that. Like, oh no, why do you worry about those things? You may have gotten those feelings before. Now is an opportunity to go, yeah, no, I really care. I'm going to be it. And I don't care about the criticism I could get from it, right? I'm going to put these words out that I'm doing right now. And I don't care about what people would think if they saw it. They can have the negative criticism. It doesn't matter because I need to be me. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's that contribution that we're meant to, we're all, you know, I hear this so often, we're all so different. No, we're not different. You know, we're all unique.
Mm-hmm.
The word different, if I could eliminate that from the English language, I would, because the word different says we're separate. Mm-hmm. You're different than me, you know? That's saying that we're, you know, but if you're different than me, then I'm different than you, and that cancels each other out, right? Yeah. As far as I'm concerned. So let's call ourselves unique and recognize that we all have unique gifts to bring to this.
We're all individuals.
Dig a little bit deeper.
United.
You know, I'm encouraging people. I got a few, this isn't selfless plugs here, guys. It's just that, you know, I do have some courses that I just put out there. There's a free one you can take. If you got some time out, you're locked up in your houses, this is a great time, whether it's my courses or Kathy's courses or sessions with Stephanie or whatever you want to do. Now is the time. This is a gift. This time is a gift where we're able to kind of bring it back to what's important, you know? Best picture I saw yesterday on the internet was a picture of an old man in a nursing home sitting in his chair. You guys may have seen this, and it was posted in our group. And there's a window, and on the outside of the window is a young guy sitting in his chair with his toque on and his winter jacket on. He's on his cell phone talking to his father, who's in the nursing home. Mm-hmm. He's making it work, right? Who would have thought that? He's thinking outside of the box. How else can I continue to make a difference in my dad's life? You know.
Yeah, so I posted yesterday something on Instagram, and I think I put it in the group too. You know, there's been so much in a time that we've been so divided. Yeah. Unity is going to bring us through this.
Yes.
And you're definitely seeing that. You're seeing in Italy, and you're seeing the beauty of humanity right here and right now. Yeah. Yes, there's a lot of fear. Yes, there can be criticism over leadership. But, you know, let's take all of that away, and let's just go for the fact that we're all human. We're all in this together. Right? Yeah. # we're all in this together. Together we rise, which is the product that I created. Yeah. You know, let's not forget that. Let's not forget that.
Kathy, do you remember when we went through Hurricane Juan?
Yes, I remember it well.
Do you remember how all of a sudden you started meeting people who've been on your street for like 20 years and you never met them? You know?
Dig out, all the neighbors dug food out because our freezers were off, and we just all started community barbecuing and sharing with each other. And my window had blown in on the duplex, and the people from the gas station down the road were very quick to come up. The Irving station came up. I tried to put a tarp up because it was pouring rain, and they came up, brought me water, brought me chips and things for the kids, and nailed wood over my window and kind of solved the problem. And I do see the same thing happening. My daughter was let go of her job. They shut down all Legendary Hospitality in Halifax as of 11 o'clock this morning. All the restaurants were shut down.
Right.
And my daughter. So I know.
It's all about me moment, guys. Sorry.
And I mean, even that company said they have a whole bunch of food. So what they're going to do is they're going to have a strategic plan to bring together, because now that they've let all their staff go and their staff won't have an income, they're going to cook and divide the food up for their staff and then donate a portion to people who need it. And I mean, that's the true sense of it, bringing people together. And I'm like,
and
it's happening.
And Rachel will be even more proud of the place that she works for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Their actions. Like that's a trickle down effect, right? Like, look at that little penny got thrown in the pool, and that's just going to keep going like that, because Rachel's vibration just increased. Guess what? Her vibration is higher. So now mom's vibration is going to be higher because Rachel's vibration is higher, right? And it just keeps going. It's like throw those pennies in the pool and let's see what we can do. That's amazing.
We can just really just tilt this whole thing.
Well, Hannah has a very good attitude.
I'm sorry, with Hannah's job, I was thinking it was Rachel.
Yeah, she has a very good attitude, and I mean, she lived way up until this point, and even she said, obviously, this was gonna happen. She moved home last summer, and she said, "I'm meant to be here for all this to happen because we all have to be here to help each other." Like, and I mean, this is my 25-year-old daughter who's just coming to this. So I think Stephanie's right that it's true. It's gonna bring a lot of people together, and the whole thing about Hurricane Juan is just going to happen and being magnified. It's just focusing on the good things we do for each other.
Yeah, let's consider the fact also that maybe we're not remembering what happened to SARS, and maybe it wasn't that bad back then because it was a different time. You know, this is happening at this time, and I think we just can all feel a planetary shift. We just feel like everybody's being forced to go indoors, spend more time with each other. We've been so divided. Now we're going to be closer together and connected, either physically because we're staying indoors, or through social media, trying to interact with people because we can go a little cabin crazy when we're all by ourselves. And so I think we're going to be connecting in much more positive ways. And I just feel like this is all coming to clear the decks, essentially, and to bring something new in.
So I want to put a challenge out to anybody who's watching this, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're seeing it. I would love to challenge each and every one of you to think of something really positive that has happened as a result of this experience. Like, what have you experienced? What have you seen? What have you witnessed? Maybe what did you have to reach deep down inside to challenge yourself to do that maybe you didn't really want to do and you did it anyway? What positive experience have you had since this pandemic has kind of taken hold of all of us? And post it down below. Let's get some really good positive vibes going. Let's focus on what's
a beautiful challenge. That's an awesome challenge,
right? Let's see what we can drum up, and maybe you guys can share it on your pages too, and let's see if we can't get something going here.
Yeah, because I think people really need to hear this big time.
Yeah.
You know, and another thing is we don't have to necessarily stay in our homes. You know, we can go outside into our garden. We can go outside and just walk in, into the trees. They're not going to catch this from us. The trees aren't going to catch it. You know, I was doing a drive yesterday and I was just watching the birds. And they're just fluttering around, I'm seeing the buds on the trees. And I just came from this perspective of they're not bothered by any of this. Us humans are.
Yeah.
But the birds and the trees and nature is still going. It's still doing its own thing. If you really watch it, you can gain some calm. You can get some grounding from that. And you can realize that I'm seeing the buds on the trees. Essentially, spring is coming. The seasons aren't stopping because coronavirus is here.
Yeah.
They could be freaky when you're going into the store. They can be freaky when everything's closing down. But if you step outside, everything's normal. A lot of anxiety can be in our minds.
It's fun. Maybe it'd be another interesting thing to ask people to kind of think back, if you can, before all this, before coronavirus became a household word. Think back about what you might have been evolving into. Like, what shifts were you personally making in preparation for this? I think of two instances where this happened. I remember before my ex-husband and I separated, for about 3 years prior to that, I could feel myself disconnecting from my house. Now, I loved my house, right? I built my house, and Kathy knew it. All the gardens and whatnot on the back. I did all the landscaping. It was a legacy garden to many family members. But every year I felt myself pulling away. I didn't know I was getting ready to leave. Like, that was not on the agenda, right? But I did leave. But the universe was preparing me to leave. And as I think through what we're going through right now, I'm not trying to dominate this conversation, but it's interesting. And Kathy will certainly appreciate this because she is a horse person too. A couple of months ago, I had somebody at the barn where I ride notice something that I was doing on the horse I was riding, my treasure, my pleasure. And she noticed something and she said, do you mind if I, give you a little bit of a tip kind of thing? Would you be offended? I said, no, bring it on, right? But in that moment, it was about 6 weeks ago, in that moment, I began to understand that someone that I didn't know very well spoke the same language I did because she was speaking energy work, right? She was helping me to connect to my horse on a very energetic level. And this is a language I know how to speak, but I had forgotten how to speak. right? So now when I ride, I'm riding very consciously, in the moment, connected, and she's going so much better. My body doesn't hurt anymore. I'm just accepting it, and I'm getting in tune, right? Now, many of you who aren't riders won't really get that. I know Kathy does. Right. So, but the fact is, I felt there was definitely an energetic shift in me that was preparing me for this, so that I can stay centered in this moment. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I think Mel Robbins did a video, or at least I saw it last week, about whatever you're going through right now, you're gaining things that take with you on your journey to the next step. And it doesn't really matter what you're doing. It could be a job that you're in that maybe you don't necessarily love.
Yeah.
It could be a situation that you're in that maybe may not be the perfect one for you. Or something like this, where many of us are stepping up and learning how to be leaders, and it's a good practice run for us to take it to the next level. Or whatever, insert whatever you're learning and gaining. That's why Anne's challenge, I think, is going to be really great. What are you picking up? What are you gaining from this situation that's making you more you, and that you feel like you can take? You know, we're gaining something. Nothing happens in our lives for no reason. Nothing happens without there being something we're meant to gain, or something we're meant to remember about ourselves. So
every moment builds on the last.
Right. If we can be open, we can gain so much richness from this situation, and we can come out this on the other side so much better.
So, you know? Kathy, you've been like super busy over the last year, getting your book up and running and going and whatnot. Can you identify anything, any shifts and whatnot that have gone through with you leading up to this whole pandemic? And if so, how have you handled it?
Well, I think the timing, as odd as it sounds, was very universal, because I had gotten so caught up in making everything better for everybody else, for my children. My son and his fiance and my grandson moved home. My daughter and her boyfriend had moved back. And we have a small home, and we kind of welcomed everybody in. And I forgot all along, I was so busy making everyone happy, I wasn't doing anything I needed or addressing any of my needs. And that happened for so long. And I'm trying to, I'm revamping my website. That should launch live again in the next week. I got my book published. I had been teaching a course for CBDC, and not once did I stop and go, okay, what do I need? Like, what do I need? And then when all of this started happening, and I knew there was going to be immune system issues and things, I really had to regroup. And so looking back, it really was the whole universe telling me, slow down, focus. You can't pour from an empty cup. Look after yourself.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us are being told that because we have been so busy rushing around because busy is sexy, so to speak, and it's really not, right? It's so not. Calm is so much more sexy on so many levels, and meeting people who are centered and at peace is, you can walk up to people and right away whether they're centered or not. If you're even a little bit empathic, I'm very empathic for things like that, and I pick up on things easily. So I was physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. But I see now I wasn't paying attention to the things I needed to do. So this has really given me the opportunity to do those things. And I'm sitting down with clarity and re-looking at things. And I've had time to really look at the website and go, no, there's a couple things I want to change. I was actually going to call you yesterday, Anne, and say, I wonder if this lines up just how it should for numerology, because you've helped me with all of those things to this point. And I'm like, I don't feel great about it. So I think probably with numerology, it's not setting right. So I need to get in touch with Anne.
And here you are.
And here you are.
I know, right?
Yes.
But you bring up a good point, because I'm working alongside of a group called nevertheless.org, and the 3 team players there have a really big background in digital marketing, all that kind of stuff. So they're helping me with launching my courses. And one of the fellas in that group said to me, it's great that you're busy. It's great that you've got a full block. It's great that all your appointments are booked. But, have you left any space open? Because most people have the idea if they're successful if their calendars are full. But he said, well, but you can only maintain that level of success for so long, and then the appointments run out, and maybe you run out and you're spent, right? So he really encouraged me to say, you have to commit to X number of hours a day to do your creative work, so that your legacy can live on. And I really thought about that because I really was measuring my level of success by how many appointments I had booked and how much money I had made. My first priority has always been, how can I be of service? That's the very first thing, always for me, always has been. But then, the nuts and bolts of running a business are the calendar's got to be filled so you can pay your bills, kind of thing. But I'm finding last year I took 4 weeks off and I had the best year I've ever had. So it's allowing ourselves to trust that it's okay to take that time out. It's okay to be a little bit of an all about you moment. And I know this is kind of contrary to what we've been saying. It isn't all about us when we're in this whole pandemic thing. It's about the collective. It's about all of us. But at the same time, if you're going to be of service to other people in an effective way, you've got to take your downtime. Like Kathy's holed up in a nice, what looks to be a very nice place.
It is a lovely place. Trust me. It's so beautiful. And the ice actually sang to me this morning because it was frozen. And then as it began to unthaw and crush against each other, literally, I videotaped it. The ice actually sang to me. And it was a very cool thing. But I mean, in that respect of self-care and it's about all of us, I don't think those two things are separate because we are all one. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not taking care of anybody. Yes. So I don't think it's a contradictory point. I think it's dead on the money, Anne. And I've learned the hard way after having a heart attack and a stroke from not listening and not looking after myself. Yeah. And in the end, that led me to write my book and help other people. Oh, sorry.
Spontaneity is best.
You know what? I will say, Kathy, just listening to you, and this is something for everybody to realize, but Kathy, your work is about helping people with adrenal fatigue. Yes, no better teacher than to look in your own life and say, okay, this is how I'm physically, personally doing this. Yeah. Hey, this is coming up in my life. Here you go. I'm not just speaking and preaching about this. I'm practicing what I preached. Every day I'm dealing with this adrenal fatigue thing. I've had, you've had it at heart attacks, so you can talk about that. You can say in real life the effects of these things and then give people the tools. So this is another situation where you could share a lot of that experience that you're having right now with people so that you can help them manage their stress during this time. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This again is a time where we can all get clearer and clearer about who we are, where we're meant to go, and what we're meant to be doing. I think everybody kind of stutter stepped the first 3 months of this year. And I think we were all looking to spring to kind of go forward and go, yeah, I'm going to tackle 2020 because we had so many expectations of this year. And here we are, screeching halt when we feel the most like we want to move forward. Yeah. And you got to deal with your feelings around maybe the illusion of thinking you always have to do, you always have to be. And maybe we slow down to speed up. This is a time to kind of reflect, and then we can move forward. Huh?
Kath, I think you're in a 4 personal year this year, I think, aren't you? You're August 10th, right?
July 10th.
Why do I always think you're August?
I don't know.
Hey, Anne, I'm going to have to pop out of here soon.
Yeah. All right. So it's a 3 personal year. So this is about you using your voice, getting your message out there. Mm-hmm. I want to pull a card on behalf of anybody watching. Would that be okay with you guys?
I'm good with it.
All right. So we're going to go into the Soul's Journey lesson cards. But
her favorite book, by the way. Can you tell how that book is?
It's not, but I don't care. The messages are great. It's by James Van Praagh. Credit where credit is due. He's amazing. You need to get his cards. Okay, so I'm asking on behalf of everybody who feels inclined to watch this video, what is the best message? What is the big lesson we are all meant to learn? Spirit, if you could put a card into the hands of anybody watching this today, which card would that be? What is it that we all need to know? What is it that you'd really like to send home to us as a message? Did I mention Spirit has a sense of humor?
I love you giggle every time you pick up a card.
Oh,
Abundance. Let me
Yeah.
read it for you. This is what they want us to focus on, right? It's important to know that. You guys, I mean, quick little numerology lesson. We're in a universal year of 4. What does that mean? It means every single one of us, regardless of what personal year we are in, has the ability to focus better this year than any other year. Okay, if you happen to be in a 4 personal year and a 4 universal year, Shazam, right? It's going to be a really good focus year for you. Yeah, Stephanie's one of them. So you need to recognize that your ability to focus is really, really great. So be extremely vigilant. Check in with yourself. What are you focusing on? What are you thinking about? Okay, if you're thinking about, oh my God, what's going on? Guess what, guys? You're going to get a whole lot more of the same. So focus on what you do have. I promise every single one of you has something more than somebody else does. There's not one of us that doesn't have something more than somebody else on the planet has, right? We all have something to be grateful for. So,
and maybe also realize that since systems are kind of being moved, how you've done things before, kind of being shifted a lot right now too, because of that 4 year. So, and that brings anxiety.
All right, so the card says, I am a limitless being and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. Always remember that you are God and God is all about creation. God says yes. The ego says no. In order to have abundance in all areas of your life, you must create the space of receiving and know that you're deserving of anything your heart desires. The more you can release limited thinking and worry, the more open you are to receiving the infinite flow of the universe. And that, pause on this moment, includes all of the lessons that the universe is giving us, the gifts that we're being given, the challenges that we're facing are our greatest gifts right now. Allow yourself to have fun when manifesting what you want in life and enjoy the process. By embracing a positive mindset, you are opening the door to unexpected abundance. It's natural to have abundance in your life, and you must realize that any thoughts of limitedness may have come from either a past life or life condition that you've chosen to overcome. They could also originate from programming that you received from the environment you grew up in and the value systems you were taught when you were young. Now is the time to begin to live with the realization that you are worthy of having abundance in every aspect of your life. When you are in the vibration of receiving, you can manifest whatever you desire in this physical reality. All right. Love it. It's worthy of mentioning and reminding everybody that we all are entitled to abundance. It's our God-given right to be abundant. So, anything else anybody else wants to contribute? Kathy, anything you want to say before we shut down?
No, just encourage everybody to do what feels good for them, look after themselves, pay attention, breathe, and notice all the little things.
And in the next week or so, what website are we going to be sending people to?
KathleenBulger.com.
KATHLEEN. Bulger, BULGER.
Right.
.com. Perfect. Okay, I'll post it up there for everybody as well. So just know that it's kind of under construction right now, but it will be open for business very soon. And she's got all kinds of really good, tons of good information there. Likewise, Stephanie is at www.voiceadream.com. Check her out. Check out her blog. Man, it's amazing. She inspires me every day. So I'm so grateful that we were all able to hang out like kind of spontaneous, like this.
Yeah, Kathy, thanks for joining the conversation. Originally, it was supposed to just be the two of us, and some people have popped in and popped out right here, but I think the fact that Kathy, you stepped in here, you ended up adding so much value to this conversation. So thank you for doing it.
Thank you so much for allowing me to join the conversation. I got so much out of it myself. I'm thrilled.
Awesome. Well, I'll be sending you guys links so that you can share it to your groups as well. And so I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause the recording, but Kathy, just stay on for a second, and Steph, you can stay as long as you need to. But I want to thank everybody else for joining us today. And again, the challenge is, how have you been positively inspired by this pandemic? What have you witnessed that is really positive? What have you seen that is just really great? And how would you like to share that with us? So post a message down below. Let's hear all the good comments. Let's raise the vibration. Drop some pennies in those pools, and let's see the vibration grow. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Love you all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.